Before we get to the iOS 18 overview, I just want to let you know that there are timestamps in the video description. So you can jump ahead to certain spots that you care about, like the messages or how to customize your home screen. So look in the description to see all the timestamps, and you can jump ahead throughout the video to get to parts that you want to see what changed about. So let's carry on with the video. What's going on YouTube? In this video, we're going to go over some of the major features of iOS 18. I'm going to do my best to cover all the major ones because this update has a ton of features and quality of life updates. So this video is just going to go over the highlights because there's over 200 pages worth of changes, and that's going to take too long. And of course, with subsequent iOS updates coming out, it's going to get a little bit of an update again, so some changes may change. So I'm just going to do the major ones for now and continue to do feature updates when, let's say, iOS 18.1 comes out. So the first one is going to be the home screen. This is on an iPhone 14 Pro, so there's not going to be any of the newer iPhone stuff, but for now, we're just going to do the base iOS 18 update. So first, we're going to do the home screen customization. This update was really all about customization, so we're going to do that now. Starting off with wallpapers. We have little feature list here, and then you have astrology. These aren't really new. You have kaleidoscope, a bunch of other colors. These aren't, I don't think these are new. The only new ones are, of course, iOS 18. Those are definitely old. These are all new, iOS 18. And if you have a newer phone, like the iPhone 16, I see this is the iPhone 14 wallpaper there. But if you have the 16, you'll get those wallpapers, the ones that you see on the box. You'll get those and the matching color, so all the colors of the iPhone will be in there. So I don't see it because I'm not on iOS 14 or iOS 18. So I have an iPhone 14 and I'm not on the latest iPhone, so none of those will show up. So those are all the wallpapers. So here are the changes for the lock screen. We have the clock. This isn't nothing new. Fonts haven't changed much. You can change the color. So as you see, there's a ton of colors, and change the hue and all that, as you see. So you can modify the colors and the wallpaper background if you like. So those are the clock updates. It's not much. Change the color. You have widgets here. Third-party widgets have support, so when you have applications like Instagram and all that, you'll see them populate here, and you can add things like snap to story or go to posts. Whatever the developer decides to add, you can add it on this little section here. So third-party support is now added. You can add other customizations and other widgets other than the stock ones. Here you have depth effect to blur the wallpaper or keep it in focus. And you have light and dark mode. As you see, it kind of changes that. And we're going to go back to automatic. And then, of course, the big one is these are now removable. You can change them to whatever you want. Once again, this is third-party enabled, so when you have applications that are made with this in mind, they will appear here, and you can add them to the bottom of the lock screen. This is something people always wanted, so it's finally here. You can choose any one of these and basically customize it. So just pick anyone and it'll populate there, and you can use it. So definitely a welcome change there, because I know there's a lot of redundancy in this area, but like especially the camera. But for now, it's going to keep it at stock. And yeah, that's basically everything for the home screen. In terms of iOS 18, you can customize a lot now, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so we just finished the lock screen customizations. Now we're going to do home screen. And the same theme here. A lot of customization and quality of life improvements. So if you hold down, you can now move applications anywhere on the home screen. It doesn't have to align to the next available spot. The application will pretty much go where you want it to. This is perfect for those who have widgets, because you can now create special pages where the applications kind of go with the widget instead of just wherever it can fit, pretty much. So that's pretty great for that. You can now change how the home screen looks. It doesn't have to always look this way, where it's just one after the other. Another cool thing is any application can become a widget. So if you long press an application that supports it, it will show you an option to change it into a widget. So as you see there, I'm gonna pick one that's not already a widget. So let's do reminders, I guess. And if it supports it, there will be multiple sizes. So as you can see there, we have different size widgets that you can choose from. And then of course, if you don't want the widget, you can just go back to the application. So definitely a cool little feature there. You can also drag current widgets to a different size. So this is all basically quicker, because before you'd have to delete the widget and go back to this menu here and add it. Now you can just drag like so. And if it supports it, it will increase the size. Of course, these are all by default. Not default, but these are all templates. So you have small, medium, and then there's a large version. So you can't like pick exactly what size you want. It will just choose the 3 that are available. But you can now do it without leaving the home screen and just drag it to what size you like and then move on. But of course, the application, once again, can turn into a widget. Next thing is you can lock any application on your phone. So this is a feature a lot of people liked on other platforms like Android and such. So it's finally here. A lot of people wanted this. So you can lock any application. So if we just open this one, for example, it's open, no locks or anything like that, like you'd expect. But if you want it to lock, you just hold down, and then it says require Face ID. You basically enable that, and then it will lock the application. Of course, you have to enable it. So we're going to do that now with your face. And once you do that, it's going to lock the application. So if we open it, it's going to request Face ID. Of course, I can't do it because the camera's in the way, but now you need your face to open it. Of course, as you saw, if it fails, you enter your password and it will open. Even if you close out of the app and relaunch it again, that Face ID is required. So this is a really good security measure for those who like to share their phone with people and they don't want certain apps to be accessed. Now you can, of course, turn this off by holding the app again and just turning it off. Face ID is required, once again, to do that. So, and then you can go back to normal. But that's a cool little feature for security. You can also hide applications as well, completely. So they would be here, and it's only in here. So if you hide an application, you won't be able to find it in any indexing like Spotlight or Siri searching. Nothing will appear in the application content. The app will basically be locked to this little section. The only way to get to it is clicking it, and it requires Face ID, of course, and open the app that way, and then all the content will be available. Of course, when you leave it, it will then lock up again. So it's a really good security measure for people that just need that extra security behind the already existing lock screen security. So there's that. Then you have some more customization with the applications themselves. So if you go to customize, of course, this is stuff they debuted at the developers conference in June and more in the keynote and when the iPhone came out. But now you could basically change the appearance of your home screen completely if you want to create a theme, like a dark theme, or just make it match the time of day, automatic. You can remove text, makes the icons a little bigger, as you see there. So a lot of people like that aesthetic. It removes the text and you just see the logos. And then, of course, you can completely change the color of every icon to a theme that you want. So if you see there, it's going to change the color of all the icons, and some of the wallpaper too will change. So this is just, once again, more customization. You can also pick if you want to match wallpaper in a certain way. You can add a specific color like that, and it won't try to match it as best it can. So more customization is now available for your home screen to make it more personalized. It's pretty cool. And that's pretty much the major stuff for the home screen. And I'm pretty sure more will be added as time goes on, but for now, that's pretty much all that's really big in the update for iOS 18. So, okay, next up is Control Center. So, Control Center got a pretty decent update this time around. We have your typical Control Center here. This is the stock version. But if you notice, there's some stuff on the side here, and the icons look a little different. So, right off the rip, you can create pages. That's what those icons there are. So if you want a specific page for a specific thing like music or setting toggles or productivity, you can now create pages specifically for that. And you can have up to like 15 of these. So plenty of pages to go around to create the perfect experience. So you can now add a lot more controls here and customize them as well. So if you hold down, you can change the size of the current, although this kind of doesn't really make sense, but you can. As you see, you can now change the sizes. You can remove them completely. So if you don't want this stuff here, you can remove it and change the platter size of anything here. So this is all customizable. Then you can add more by going here. If it will click it, there you go. And once again, third-party support. So any third-party developer that makes use of this can now add their Control Center toggle per se in here, and you can add it to that. So really customizable here. Of course, all this is for the pages and stuff. So if you really wanted to create that custom page for whatever you need it for, that's perfect. And you can add them all here. Once again, you can create up to 15 of these pages here, as you see. So you can just keep creating and make that perfect productivity or perfect platter per se page. So that's basically all that's happened in Control Center. So it's pretty nice. It's a welcome change. Once again, customization focused. Next up is going to be Photos. So in the Photos application, there's a lot of changes here in the layout. So if you notice, the tabs are gone at the bottom because everything is now put on one page. So as you see, all of your photos from recent to the first one you ever took is going to be in here, and you can keep scrolling down like this, and it'll just keep loading the photos from the time you took them. Once again, all the recent ones will appear first, and then it just goes up from there. Then you have a bunch of categories. They'll group them together. Right now we don't have enough photos, so it's not going to really show much, but it will do like people or pets or anything of that nature. It's all on one page. Here's your albums. Before you had to get the tabs down here, but now they're all on this streamlined little page here. So you just keep scrolling down to get more photos and parts of the application. So this is what all your specific topics are, like recent, deleted, and hidden, and all that. So the Photos app is just a little bit more streamlined. Of course, this is mainly because of Apple Intelligence. They're probably making this more useful for that. Once Apple Intelligence comes out, it's going to be able to combine photos and edit photos and create whole playlists and groups and stuff. So this is probably why it's made this way. So if you don't like it, you can remove all of these features right here and just keep it simple like how I have it. I got rid of all these topics, and I just kept basically this section and this section. So you could do that, but this is the Photos app. It's just redesigned from the visual standpoint. Of course, there are also some editing tools, but most of them are going to be for the newer iPhones 15 Pro or later because of the Apple Intelligence. So if you don't have it, like how this one is the 14, you're probably not going to see most of them. I'm pretty sure there are new ones, but most of them are going to be for the newer phones. with all the customization and photo magic that, you know, they tend to allow nowadays. So yeah, so this is a photo application in iOS 18. So we're going to do a quick one on wallets. It's not much in terms of updates here, but basically the wallet just has more states added for the ID. If you need to add your ID to use it kind of like any other thing, like these cards here. So you can add your ID if you live in certain states. You can check the list. They have them. And then, of course, the big one for me is the Apple Cash feature. It's called Tap to Pay. So if you remember, if you wanted to pay someone any Apple Cash amount, you have to get their phone number or some type of Apple information, either Apple ID or phone number tied to the account, and then you enter that in as a contact, and then you pay them that way. Well, now there's a feature where if you go to the wallet, or you can add this thing that you see here, this little button, you click it. It won't work on my phone because my Apple wallet is tied up, so it won't load. But if you click that button, it will load Apple Pay, and then you type an amount, and then from there, you have to verify what payment you want. Of course, use Face ID and all the double tapping. And then eventually it'll say, hey, your payment's now ready to either send or be received. And all the person has to do, if you're, let's say, sending it to someone, is they put their phone like this. And then, of course, that animation will appear where the light goes up like that. And then they will receive a notification, like as if you're sharing an image or something, but it will be money, basically. And they click it, an animation will appear, and they click accept, and you pay them. You don't need to ask for their number or any contact information. You just do that, and it'll send them the money right away, right into their Apple Cash wallet. So definitely a convenient feature for the wallet application. If you like to pay friends or go out and do tabs with other people, this is perfect for that, because once again, you don't need contact information. You just tap that button and pay them with a little transfer thing like this. Of course, that has to be on, so make sure that's on and set up your Apple Pay and all that. And of course, this toggle here is not here by default. You can add it doing this method here. Go in here, tap this button here, and then find the Apple Pay, and then add it there, and then you can shortcut your way to getting that animation completed. So it's pretty cool. Okay, next up we're going to do messages. So there's a lot of changes in here. For one, the big one is iOS 18 allows full RCS support. So if you talk to an Android user or any of that, you will now see a lot more rich communication. So texting indicators, you can now send emojis to each other. Of course, the images will now be pretty much in full quality or close to it, as that bandwidth has been greatly increased. And you can have better functionality in group chats. So RCS definitely helps a lot. It's not as intuitive as iMessage, of course, but it is definitely a useful update for those that talk to Android users, because it makes it more streamlined and it's not so fragmented, to say, especially with the images. But in iMessage in general, not much has changed in terms of the features yet, because most of this stuff is going to be with intelligence. So unfortunately, this phone won't get it. You have to be on a 15 Pro or later to even see Apple Intelligence. So for now, you just have, of course, new emojis. They always add them every time there's an update, so this is no different. I believe the emojis this time are going to be the animated ones, where you can like see someone shaking their head and yes or no and all that. So you have customization for text. So if you enter a text here, whatever, I don't know, anything like that, you can now customize that text to do certain things. So as you can see, these texts here is kind of demonstrated in the keynote a while ago, but the big thing that will make this different is that there is going to be other stuff added to this in time, of course, with Apple Intelligence. So there's going to be a lot more fields here, mainly with, let's say, spelling check or tone check, and Apple Intelligence will be available in this area, and you can change how your tone is on your texting or add more effects or just improve your overall texting experience with the AI support. So of course it's not here because Apple Intelligence isn't live yet, and of course this phone won't even see it. So basically this is pretty much all that you can see in terms of what's now available on this phone. You do get the usual stuff here, but most of it is going to be better integration. You can add stickers and stuff, and it's going to improve group chat and all that. So a lot of this stuff in this update in regards to iMessage is going to be with Apple Intelligence. But for now, just enjoy the RCS support and, of course, the additions to adding stickers and emojis, and, of course, the texting editing that I showed you there. Add more effects and bolding and all that. So that's basically it in the iMessage part. But the big thing is, of course, RCS support. That's some much needed welcome change there, and I'm glad it's here finally. So if you're on a newer iPhone, a lot of the camera changes here are going to be on there. There are some changes in terms of photo capture and photo editing on older iPhones, but most of the new stuff is going to be on the later iPhones with all the processing power. But of course, with the camera app, you do get a lot more customization and photo editing. Now, I'm not going to really demonstrate that here because I don't have 1, photos, and 2, I'm not really a great editor in terms of photos. So I just don't know really anything about that enough to show you here. But just know that there's a lot more tools added here, like white balance and all that. There are some pretty cool depth effects and such, but I believe those are on the newer phones, so you may not see it on if you have an older one. But for now, this is just a lot of customization and editing for photos and video. You can even do video now in certain formats. Of course, with all the cinematic stuff, you can improve the resolution. But for now, it's just going to be on the newer phones. So not much in the camera, at least that I can see on older phones. But there is some changes here, especially with the customization on the photos and video for editing and effects. So that's all I can find for the camera. Okay, so here's some miscellaneous things that I found, some minor changes. So one is the Passwords app. You have a application that was once in settings, now on your home screen. It's all about passwords and authentication codes. So if you have keychain enabled, they'll all appear here. You can edit them, remove them, or even add some from websites and other things that you use for passwords. And of course, get authentication codes. It's a lot more secure than SMS. So it's a good application all around. You can even hide that to not allow anyone to see it. You just put it right there and make it even more secure. So that's great for that. You can send messages later in iMessage. It doesn't show up here for me because I'm not connected to a phone. But if you were, it would be like right around here. It will say send later. And when you click it, you can set a time and day to send a message if you want to schedule something like for a birthday or wait for someone to wake up before you bother them. So send later is now available in messages. Settings app got a new little UI change here. Makes it more streamlined because it was getting a little convoluted with all these menus and submenus. So just a lot more streamlined and easier to access in the settings application. So definitely a welcome change there. You can add a lot more customizations to the photos, as I mentioned earlier, but most of them is going to be with Apple Intelligence. And as you can see, Apple Intelligence isn't here yet. This phone will never see Apple Intelligence. This is a 14 Pro Max, or Pro, I'm sorry. You'll need a 15 Pro Max, 15 Pro, or later. So any of the iPhone 16s, 15 Pro Max, whatever. You need those to even see Apple Intelligence. So a lot of the changes are going to be there. So when that comes out, I'll do more videos on iOS 18 because that's going to change a lot in this software version. in terms of how things work, like in messages, phone. There's a lot of phone stuff that I can't show you because it's all Apple Intelligence based. And of course you have the photos gets even more of changes, and camera. So there's a lot of changes. But I'm showing you the base stuff here. When you update with any phone to iOS 18, these are the base changes you will see right off the rip. You don't need the latest iPhone to see them. Like, for example, interactive widgets. Any of these widgets, if you have a control widget, for example, for music, you don't need to launch the application to use it. It will be interactive, so you can touch the next button or whatever and it'll work. Whereas before, it will just launch the application. So just some minor changes like that, quality of life improvements. But most of the changes are going to be on the later iPhones with Apple Intelligence. So when that comes out, I will do my best to cover that in the time frame. Of course, this is not going to be all in one drop. It's going to be iterative. So first it's going to be Siri for the latest iPhone. Then it's going to be more language models and image generation. So when those come out, I will try to keep up with them and do videos on them, showing you how they work and all that. So for now, this is just the base iOS update for iOS 18. I did my best to cover all the stuff that all the iPhones will get, at least all the major things. There are a ton of quality of life improvements and other minor changes. So I just went over the major ones that you will notice right away and that it may be useful for you right away. So if you have any other questions, please let me know. If you have any other things you want me to demonstrate, just let me know and I'll do my best to do that. Of course, all the major changes are going to be with Apple Intelligence. When that comes out, we will really get into what iOS 18 can do with the latest phones. So until then, we're just going to end it there, because things even that are currently available on iOS 18 could change as well. So we'll see what happens when that eventually does come out. So until then, I hope this helped you get an understanding what's changed in iOS 18. And if it did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, I'll see you when Apple Intelligence comes out. So until then, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.